Hello everyone, I'm Mike Cahill. Welcome to another installment of Hatfield Currents, a news magazine type show that uses an interview talk show format featuring personalities, key issues, and town controversies of interest to residents here in town. For those of you who haven't seen Hatfield Currents in a while or who haven't seen it at all and don't know me, I'm a longtime resident, having lived with my family on North Street for lots of years, too many to actually mention. I'm a former selectman and a former multi-term school committee member. Most recently, I happen to serve on the town's redevelopment authority for several years. Hatfield Currents itself, the shows air on HCTV Channel 15. You can see the HCTV Channel 15 programming schedule on the channel, and you'll be able to get the dates and times of future shows on that. The show is also available on YouTube, so you need to go to YouTube, and the YouTube channel that it's on is called Hatfield Community TV. That's all one word. And lastly, if you need to give us some feedback or you'd like to give us some feedback, please do. You can email us at hatfieldcurrents@gmail.com, or you can pick up the phone and give me a call or talk to me on the street. Today's show features Hatfield resident and Smith Academy alumnus Julia Bannister. Julia is helping to produce this year's school musical. It's the annual spring musical production, and the title this year is Little Shop of Horrors. You've probably seen some of the signs that are starting to crop up around town. Today we're going to find out a little bit more about the show and about Julia and her involvement with it. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Julia Bannister to Hatfield Currents. Julia, before we start to get into a bunch of questions about the show, could you tell our viewing audience a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got involved with producing the shows each year?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to turn it over to you.
So my family and I moved to Hatfield right before 7th grade. They came here on purposely so that my brother and sister and I could attend Smith Academy and the Hatfield Public Schools. And so in 7th grade, the spring musical was one of the first activities that I got involved with, and our show was Bye Bye Birdie that year. So I got my start to an illustrious career playing Reporter 1 in Bye Bye Birdie. And so that activity really meant a lot to me. It was a great way to know families around town and get to be closer with some like-minded classmates. And I had a really incredible director for my entire high school and middle school career there, Melissa Uri. Many of you may remember her. She's fabulous. And so I stuck with the play for every year, so 7th through 12th grade when I was at Smith Academy. My senior year got the chance to play Yenta in Fiddler on the Roof. And then I was fortunate enough to be able to come back and help out with some of the productions when I was in college over at UMass Amherst. So as a freshman, I came back and did an independent study working alongside Melissa to kind of see what the directorial and production side of the show was like. My sophomore year of college, I had a year off. I was actually studying abroad, so that's a good reason, I think, to have to miss a show. The only one I've missed.
That's a great reason.
Yeah. And then my junior and senior year, and then last year, I graduated college in 2012. I was an assistant director for the show. One more year with Melissa Uri, and then 2 shows with Kim Overtree. So we did Oklahoma and Godspell. And so I've basically been involved with it in every way that you can be, as a young actor, as one of the older students. As I said, I did an independent study, and then as an assistant director, getting to see all different aspects of how the show comes together and working directly with the kids, which is what I love. So this year, Kim wasn't able to continue as the director, and I was fortunate enough to be offered the chance to step into the shoes of director. And so this is my first year actually directing the show, which is really exciting. It's definitely a big challenge. The leap from assistant director to director is huge.
Do you have an assistant, or are you doing this all on your own?
I don't have an official assistant director, but I have a choreographer, Lily Altrooter, who's a junior dance major at Smith College. And then a good friend of mine and fellow Smith Academy alum, Liz Vollinger, is the HES director. So she works with the 5th and 6th graders, because the show is 5th grade through 12th grade. So I have help. I said, you know, I think I could have choreographed the show, but it would have been really basic. And so I'm really happy I have Lily on board to lend a more professional touch to the dancing side of the show.
So you've kind of covered some of this, but what is it that you like doing about, doing the show? Why do you like doing the show every year?
First of all, I just think Hatfield is such an incredible community, the way that it really does support art and young people. Both the awesome band, which I was part of in high school, and visual arts. The murals around town are amazing. The spring musical is such a great community event. What I personally like best is working with the students. I think it's actually sort of a interesting aspect of myself as a director is that I'm actually not that into theater, like outside of this. People will name musicals to me, I'm like, I don't really know what that is, but what I really like is working with the kids in this community. And for me, theater was the way that kind of helped me grow as a person and feel more comfortable in my own skin, feel comfortable being on stage and acting, taking risks in front of other people, and just helped me grow as a person into who I am as an adult. So being able to pass those lessons on to today's youth in Hatfield is what gives me the meaning to what I do.
Excellent. Julia, it must cost money to put on these shows, as much as I don't know if people think about this. So are there benefactors? Is there a show subsidy along the way that
Where does
that
the money
happens?
come from, basically? So Hatfield Education provides basically, it's not a traditional grant. I don't know the technical term, but I would consider it more like a loan, because they give us the money that we need to put on the show, and that's based on budgets from years past. And we meet with the Hatfield Education Foundation early on in the year. Hatfield Education Foundation, and then we try to break even. So we try, or hopefully make a bit of a profit. All the money goes back to paying off what Hatfield Education Hatfield Education Foundation provided to us to do the show. And that covers everything from costumes, sets, the salaries for people that are involved, concessions, buying the flowers, printing the programs. There's a lot of kind of costs, like you said, that people don't see. And so all the money that we make goes right back to try to pay back that loan and make a little bit of profit for the Education Foundation as well.
So the proceeds of the show will go back to HEF, the foundation?
Okay. And I think they're trying to move it to be more coming right from the schools. So where in future years they're going to give the money directly to Smith Academy to then pass to us, because it's really a school function. And we think that the more involvement we have directly with the schools, the more students and the community can really take ownership of the show. And one thing I tried to do this year was to get students involved in more non-traditional aspects besides just acting or being on stage. And that's not for everybody, but like we had a Smith Academy alum, Leah Hewlings, come in and take pictures for us for the program. Another Smith Academy alum who's a couple years older than me, Siobhan Tripp, is designing our program. We had some students come in and help us paint sets, even if they're not in the show. We have a student doing hair and makeup for us. So I think this has the potential to grow and be, I'd love to have a student design the front of the program, or like the t-shirt for us in the future. There's lots of different ways the whole community can be involved, even if you don't want to be on stage acting and singing.
Do you guys independently solicit donations to help support the show at all? Or is it solely from the Hatfield Education Foundation?
Well, I mean, we have, the money that we earn goes back, so we need it up front, and then we try to pay back those costs. So ticket sales are the big way that we make our money. We also sell ads in our program to local businesses. A lot of local businesses have been really loyal, putting ads in year after year. We're always looking for people that would like to advertise. Not only is it a way to promote your business, but it's also a great way just to give to the community.
Sure.
And then we also sell flowers and snacks at the show.
At the performances?
Yep.
Okay.
And then we have sometimes parents will put in we're calling it a playbill spotlight, just to say an extra picture of their kids, good luck, break a leg, and maybe some inside joke, and we make a little bit of money off of those ad sales as well.
So let's talk about Little Shop of Horrors, the show this year, the performance this year. How did you choose that? Why did you choose that?
Yeah, so it's a really funny show that I've always wanted to do with this group. Yeah. When I was in high school, I saw it done at Amherst Regional High School. A friend of mine was in it, and it just really struck me. It always stayed in my memory, even though when I went back to look at it for this year, I realized there were tons of things I didn't remember, but it was always in my mind as a show that I wanted to do. I tend to like this era of history in shows, so it takes place in the late 50s, early 60s. Okay. Sort of has a Grease type vibe to it. We did Grease when I was a 9th grader, I think, and that was a favorite show of mine to be in. So I just like that type of music. It kind of has like this rockabilly, Motown type feel. So the music's really upbeat. It's not so far back in time that the kids are like, why do we have to wear aprons? Stuff like that. Like, it's kind of a cool show, like, for the modern era. And it's hilarious, and that's why I picked it, because I think that our cast, the kids that are in the show, have such great comedic timing, and I wanted to give them the chance to really be funny.
So it's a musical. So there's singing.
Yep.
You talked about choreography.
Dancing.
So there's dancing.
Yes, and acting.
It's funny.
Yeah.
And they're acting.
It's a dark comedy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. So let's talk about the cast and the crew. Where do they come from?
So they are all...
We talked about grades, a little bit about grades before. But
they're all students in the Hatfield Public School System.
Okay.
Grades 5 through 12. The main cast and crew are grades 7 through 12. So I work with the 7th through 12th graders, which are the Smith Academy students. Right from the beginning of the process, auditions are usually right after the holidays in January. And then a little bit later on, we add in 5th and 6th graders, and they're kind of like the background of a show is called the chorus, and so they're kind of like a mini chorus. So it's like a taste of what it's like to be in the show. They'll be in all our group numbers, and then the main cast would be 7th through 12th graders. Okay. And the crew is students as well. We have a stage manager who's been with us a couple years, Emily Doe. She does an amazing job. I would be lost without her, and she's a senior this year, so she's taken on a big role.
Next year.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyone interested, please let me know. Yeah, so they're all students, very, very talented group.
So how do you get them, I'm asking you some practical questions here, but how do you get them to volunteer? Well, and then do they have to audition for their parts? And how do you select them? Okay.
Yeah, good question. So anyone who wants to participate is welcome. We do auditions, but they're not tryouts, meaning nobody gets cut. There are just auditions to figure out the best place for you.
Sure.
And when it comes to volunteer roles, not being on stage, the more the merrier. We can always use people on stage crew. We have someone doing sound, someone doing lights. Those are important jobs as well. But so we hold auditions early on. That's the first thing we do, like I said, right after the holidays. And I tried to pick the show keeping the cast in mind, knowing some people that would be here from last year, to try to fit it well to the personalities and range of talents that I have. Right. But then there's always a chance, I don't know what the students are going to bring and what they're going to want out of it. So it's always a little bit in flux. But so we do the 2 rounds of auditions, and it depends on their acting ability. Their singing ability is a big part of it, because that's something that is really important to the show and you can work with, but there has to be the ability to carry the show, and there's some really great numbers.
Is there a lot of interest on the part of the students? I mean, when you say we're going to have auditions or whatever,
well,
tryouts,
a lot of the same kids come back year after year, and
that's what I thought.
A real community building, when we're there. We have it takes place during April vacation every year, and so people will say the kids are giving up their vacation, but if you ask them, that's not how they look at it, because everyone, hands down, and I know from experience, says it's called Tech Week. That's the week, the days leading up to it, when we have long rehearsals, and it's like the most fun part of the process, because when they have downtime, the kids are all hanging out together. I mean, they're really supporting each other. They get really close. So then that community builds, and other people may hear about it and want to be a part of it. And I see that, you know, maybe I'd say 95% of the kids do it every year until they graduate. So we don't have a lot of people that try it and don't like it. It seems like when people try it, they love it and come back. And so I think it's word of mouth. The kids tell their friends. The other kids see that their friends are having a great time, and they get to try and really push themselves and find out they can do something that they didn't think was possible.
Is there, there seems to be a lot of excitement and interest on the part of the student body. Is there a possibility that you might ever go to 2 shows a year rather
That
than
would be
one?
awesome. I mean, in years past, we've had a drama club, sometimes during school hours, and done like a fall production. I actually did try to get a fall group together this fall, but just didn't have enough interest. I hope that now that I've had a chance to direct and people, some of the families know me more. The kids knew me, but not all the families did, that I might be able to do something in the summer or fall, because for students like me who singing is not my strong suit, it would be nice to have a straight play too, which would be a non-musical, so that some other kids can have a chance to take the lead, even if they're not the strongest when it comes to vocals. So I would love that personally.
So what do you want people to know about this year's show? I mean, we've talked a lot about it, but
well,
is there, you want, you know,
there's something
for the audience,
special about this show. So for people that don't know the story of Little Shop of Horrors, it's about a man-eating plant. That's why I say it's a dark comedy. And so the plant is a puppet. So we have puppets in this show. We actually rented them from someone in Eastern Mass who created them himself for a show that he did, and they're really impressive. I mean, I knew right away when I decided to do the show that there was no way I was going to take on the project of building a plant puppet. So luckily I found an awesome set of puppets to rent. They grow in size. So there's a little puppet, a little bit bigger, and the last puppet is like 7.5 feet long and eats people.
Real man-eater.
Yeah, so I will think that that's going to be a real treat for the audience to see the puppets. We are getting them delivered to us this Friday, so I'm really excited to start working with them. Our puppeteer is a 7th grader, a new student, and he has been itching to get his hands on the puppets because we have someone doing the voice of the puppet, but we have no puppet, and it's like practically one of the main characters. So that'll be something exciting for the audience to see and to watch the different stages be revealed. Only the cast has seen pictures of the puppet, so it's going to be a surprise for everyone that comes to see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about the audience? Is this show geared for a particular age level? I mean, could you bring a primary grade level child to this
I think you just have
show,
to,
and would they be okay with it?
Yeah, I've been asked that before, and we are trying to make the show as family friendly as possible because this is a community event. So some of the scarier moments I've tried to play down so that my goal is to make it a show that's silly rather than scary. But at the same time, for parents of young children, they have to know their kid if they're going to be okay with that or not. I would say, like, and I'm just totally guessing, but maybe, 4th, 5th grade, 6th grade would be fine. Young kids. Just if your kid is afraid of scary movies, this might not be the show for them. But like I said, we try to keep it as silly and upbeat as possible. There's no blood and guts, nothing like that. But even the idea of a talking plant puppet can be scary to some kids, let alone the fact that there's a man going down the tube and
That's why I asked, because I'm sure there are some parents out
so
there
there's
with
some stage violence,
preschoolers, and
there's a talking
hear
plant.
about this. And
But like I said, we're going to try to keep it really upbeat and silly and fun. But it is about a man-eating plant. And
the title itself,
well, if you've seen the sign, there's dripping blood. But it's a dark comedy. It's all meant to be in good fun. There's no, limbs flying or anything like that. So
where and when can people see the show?
The important question. Yeah. So the show, as I said, goes up every year during April vacation. So this year it is Wednesday, April 23rd is the first show at 7 p.m. We have 7 p.m. shows that Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so 23, 24, 25 of April. Right. And then we have a matinee on Saturday, April 26th at 3 p.m. So 4 shows in total. And I'd love to tell people where they can buy tickets, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Okay.
No, absolutely. That was my next question.
Yeah, I've got my promoter brain on because I want everyone to come see this awesome show. So tickets, there's a ticket form that can be downloaded on the Hatfield Education Foundation website, which is just hatfieldeducationfoundation.org.
Okay.
And if that's the easiest way for you to do it, you can download the form, write, I want 2 tickets, and then there's all the instructions on the website as to how we will then get you your tickets.
Right.
You can also come to the Hatfield Elementary School any Saturday this month, and up until the show. So it's the 7th right now, so the 12th and the 19th we'll have tickets for sale from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. right in the side entrance by the community room at the elementary school. You can also buy tickets before any show 1 hour before the show, so starting at an hour before. And we have general admission this year in 2 different sections. We're calling them awesome seats and great seats because there's no bad seats in the house.
Okay, well, what's the difference? Come on,
the
fess up.
awesome seats are in the middle and in the front.
Okay.
So it's general admission in 2 different sections.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. So how are you and the cast and the crew all doing at this point?
We're doing really well.
Do you feel as though everything's falling into place?
Yes.
And you're on schedule,
Definitely.
so to speak?
Yeah, I'm actually really happy with where we are and so impressed with the way the cast has worked together and with my 2 helpers, Liz and Lily. Lily has done a great job kind of making choreography that's both interesting for the audience and not so challenging for the kids that it's anxiety producing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a really good level balance. Yeah. And I feel like we're right on target. That being said, we have our first run through this Saturday, and after that I'll let you know if I need to panic. But I think we're in a really good position. And
so when do you rehearse?
We rehearse every weekend, which some people say, how do you do this without nighttime rehearsals? But we've been doing it this way the whole time I've done the show, and it works really well. Okay. When the kids come, they're so focused that we get a lot done. We basically have an intensive rehearsal every Saturday. And then I was just telling my cast this last Saturday, I said, all the work that we've gotten done from January till now is about half the work. And then the other half gets done during Tech Week when we're there long hours. When I can just say we're going to run this number over and over until it's perfect, and we have everyone there. I've been totally remiss not mentioning Frank Jackson, our actual music director, who plays the piano and teaches the vocals. If he watches this, Frank, I'm so sorry. He's been doing the show literally as long as I've been alive.
Is he from Hatfield, or is he
he's
local?
not. He's from Holyoke.
Okay.
Yep. But he's been doing the show for us for 24 years. Yep. So he's really talented, and what I'm saying is, we're all there all the time. So anything that needs to be worked can get worked during Tech Week. We have the stage set up, the lights, and that's sort of when the magic starts to happen. So we're going to get a lot of work done leading up to the show, and then we'll be ready to go April 23rd.
Good. Have you always had a Saturday matinee?
That's a good question. We used to have, I believe, our first show be a matinee, the Wednesday was a matinee instead. But that was pretty low attendance, so we find that switching it around works better. And we also do something now where right after the Saturday matinee, we break down the stage and get everything back to normal for school to start. That way we don't have to ask people to come in on Sunday when they're all tired, and we just do our show, clean up, cast party, and believe it or not, then we're done. Yeah,
it's over with.
Yeah.
Anything else Julia, that you'd like to share with the audience about the show before we? Well,
I just want to, thank everyone who's going to come and enjoy the show, thank the people that I've been working with. For me, I feel like it's such an honor to be able to give a taste back of what was given to me as a student at Smith Academy. And I hope that, all the lessons that were taught to me about just taking risks and not being afraid to try something different and put yourself out there, I hope I'm able to pass that on to the students I work with, and that we're able to really create something fun and entertaining for the Hatfield community.
Yeah, it's really good of you to have, to get into it and with that kind of attitude and that kind of expectation.
Yeah.
I guess, and to you to be
Thank
able to
you.
give back, and hopefully this thing will end up producing along the way more and more people that graduate from the Hatfield school system like you, who have this
thank
kind
you.
of
Yeah, I love-
motivation and incentive.
Well, I love giving back to this community. I think
go.
it's amazing. I'm really happy to be living here still. It's an incredible place to live. And I do want to say, every year we graduate really talented students, and then along with them, their parents. So we need a lot of people to help out to get this show on its feet. And the more people get involved, the bigger this will be and the cooler shows we can put on in the future.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. Well, that's about all the time we have for today's installment of Hatfield Currents. We want to thank Julia Bannister for being here and for a very interesting and informative visit. We want to thank all of you who are watching as well, and we hope you really enjoyed it. Before I sign off, I do want to thank our HCTV station manager, John Novak. Without him, these things just wouldn't happen. He's literally the right hand man, if you will, for Hatfield Currents. Again, just a reminder, this particular show will be broadcast over the course of the next few weeks. We're in April of 2014 at this point, on HCTV Channel 15. So you need to go to Channel 15 and look at the programming schedule, and you'll be able to see the dates and times for future renditions of this particular show. You can also see it 24/7 on YouTube, as I said earlier. The channel on YouTube is Hatfield Community TV. That's the channel that you'd look on YouTube for it. Lastly, just one more plug for the show, Little Shop of Horrors. 4 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, April 23rd, 24th, and 25th at 7 o'clock. A matinee, Saturday the 26th at 3 o'clock, all at the elementary school.
Yes.
Julia says there's, the tickets are, there's an awesome seating ticket and a really great seating ticket. One's 10 and the other one's 8. Is that, no, 12 and 10?
For students and seniors, the price is flat no matter where you are, $8. And then adults, it's 10 for great seats and 12 for awesome seats.
Okay, so 12 and 10, awesome and great. Students and seniors are $8, regardless of where you sit, even if you're sitting on somebody's lap, I guess.
No, we'll see.
Tickets can be purchased at the elementary school from 1 to 2 p.m. on the next Saturdays up until showtime. Also 1 hour before each show?
Yep.
Okay.
Or you can order, download a ticket form from the Hatfield Education Foundation website.
Great, okay. So go out and see the show and support our kids and Julia and her efforts. Should be an outstanding performance this year. 2 other announcements before I sign off that I want to share with you. The annual town meeting this year is Tuesday, May 13th at 7 p.m. at Smith Academy. So if you want some say in how the town will spend $11 million next year, you should plan to attend that meeting. Also, Election Day is a week later, Tuesday, May 20th at Town Hall. So if you want some say in the town's leadership, get out and vote. Plan to vote, please. So thank you, Julia Bannister, again. Until the next Hatfield Currents, I'm Mike Cahill. Watch yourself, Hatfield.